Hey YouTube, it's your favorite mega church cult survivor, Leah Lauder, and I'm live. I spent 18 years in a mega church cult, and now I come online and expose them. You will hear me speaking to TikTok also and Instagram. You know how it is. So you'll hear me saying hello to them. Sign day up in the car. Don't gas me up. Thanks for the follow, Sour Patch. Yeah, do you not remember Sour Patch Kids? Do you remember them dollies? The Sour Patch Kids. Do you not remember Rosie and Jim? Rosie and Jim. Come on. Where's all my 80s babies? Thanks for the follow, babe. Queen Nassie in the car. Do you not remember Rosie and Jim? Come on, man. Don't leave me outside in these 1980s streets. Yeah. Come on. Where's my Rosie and Jim people, man? Who used to watch Rosie and Jim on the canal? What you telling me? Who used to watch Rosie and Jim? All right, you lot, let's get into it. Christ first in the cup. So I'm Leah, and this is me and my crazy years. I spent 18 years in a cult. That's why I'm actually going to be 39 in January. Woo! I'm an MESS. Me not care. Because, baby, Romans 8:28 reads, all things work together for the good of those who love and trust the Lord. So, because I be looking young outside in these streets, the young rich YNs. I forgot how do you know what? It's actually better to go for the young rich YNs because they haven't been infiltrated by the gal them, had the youths and all that. This is when they're just focused on money, chat. I forgot, babe. Are you all right? So it's worked out. Don't worry about me and a war and a die and a ha and a war because I'm good, baby. These young rich YNs are on me. Are you all right with this natural hair? Oh, let's not do that. Let's not do that, baby. Not with this natural hair, chair. Do you know what I mean? Woo! Are you all right? Okay, you lot, let's get into it. Come on. We've got to get it all up, though, because it's been a crazy live in the first one. We were discussing a lot. So today, I want to kind of get into second-gen cult members. And basically, I survived the mega church cult for 18 years. And now I expose other church cults and on behalf of survivors. So long story short, anyway, this survivor hits me up from Miami, Florida. Oh, yeah, in it, Paris. One time. I've got a survivor in Miami, Florida, a little baddie. You lot is so bad. She's a second-gen church cult member, and her mum, she never had no emotional stability, no upbringing, no nothing, because the mum was just so hyper-religious. Anyway, long story short, that there was some crazy cult lady claiming to be some prophetess, yeah. So she told the mum, let's say the survivor's name's Rose, yeah. She said, oh, Rose shouldn't work because she got her first job. She said, take her security number. She needs to focus on the ministry. So the mum did that. The girl couldn't, she had to leave her first job. And then the mum threw her out the house because she didn't want to go to the church. They took over the house, was doing up church in the yard. You lot, when she said she didn't want to go to church, the mum dashed her out. She was 18. Threw everything out of the yard, all of her clothes, her panty, everything, her drawers, they were all outside. It was only the trans neighbor that came to her aid. Everyone else from the church stood around and watched. And basically, because she didn't have no money, she didn't have a security number, she was homeless, she didn't have nothing. That guy put her on and said, basically, he's got a hookup for a club. So she's a go-go dancer in America, innit? So this is a gal that's grown up. It's basically grown up in the church, but here she is having to be in a STRIP club to survive because her mum is in like such a religious psychotic state that someone else is controlling her mind and telling her what to do. So this is kind of like where we're at before we go. So I just want to kind of unpack it and look at why this happens. Wait, let me get what I need, guys. It's just been guys, there's so much going on right now. I don't know where it starts and I don't know where it ends, to be honest. All right. Okay, I'm going to do up this one. So first of all, I'm going to break down what a second-gen cult member is because, there's not really much out and about church cults. So welcome, YouTube. So so I'll get into it. A second-generation cult survivor is someone who's grown up inside the high control, authoritarian religious group. I want to also say that families can be quite cult-like. So if you've got a narcissistic father, you've got a dad who's a narcissist, and then you've got 5 siblings and you had to grow them and all of that. That's why I got this picture here. Because in these type of families, yeah, it's like they have these kids and then they leave the eldest one to like raise the kids, and there's like this adultification of the children. So I'm going to get into this, and it's so bad because these parents, they work and work and work and work and work, and then they give all the money to the church cults. And who loses out? Who does it affect the most? The children. They don't grow up with a mother. They don't have a mother or a father. They got to raise themselves. Do you know how many survivors that have come and said like they don't even, their mom's alive, but it's like their mom's not alive. It's like they feel like they don't have parents. Like that's how deep it is, yeah. So again, these second gen members, they don't have autonomy development. It's all of their identity and everything they know is shaped primarily by the group and inside of the self-sealing system and its leaders, because remember, the leaders control the parents. Thanks for the follow, babe. That's so encouraging. And so what I've found with all of the second gen survivors that I've spoken to is that the cult leader was like parenting through their parents. So it's not their parent, it's the voice of the cult leader through the parents. So in this case that I'm talking about with the survivor Rose, I'm just using a synonym name for her. Basically, this woman that was supposed to be her prophetess and pastor was an ex-LGBTQ plus woman that was in the military. Do you understand what I'm saying? Turned pastor and false prophetess. So it was very regimented. It was very strict. It was very disciplined. This girl didn't get, she didn't get to go to her prom. She didn't get to celebrate none of her birthday. She didn't get to go to a club. So that's why my girl ends up having to be a go-go dancer to survive. And she said when she went to the interview, the guy goes, oh, okay, show me what you got. And she just took off everything. And he said, all right, you're hired. And, you know, she said that God kept her in there. And that was the first time she felt free, in control of her body and her mind. It was the first time that she could make a decision for herself. And that was in an STRIP club. So do you get what I'm saying? There are, and that's why I said to you, like the pastor's kids, the people who are born into it, they actually end up worse than the people who come in and get converted. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because they've just been exposed to it from birth, and their parents are so hyper religious. So they've got no one to go to. They feel trapped. They've also got no identity outside of that cult. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like everything they know is all shaped and framed within the cult. Why does Instagram look like this? Like I need to clean my screen. Like what is actually going on? Sorry, Insta, you lot. Sorry, I know this is ghetto, but chair. You know the Instagram one, it stays up. Yeah. Yeah. All right. You just saw my nail gel looking crusty and dirty, but I don't care. It's just rolling. It's live. I don't care. I'm out here exposing them. Earlier, I had all my snot dropping out of my nose. I don't care because I'm absolutely traumatized. I'm absolutely traumatized by what these survivors are saying. Are you all right? They haven't had mothers, guys. These gal them, look at this woman. You lot can't see on YouTube, but look, like these people, they're not well. They're not well, guys. Do you get it? All right. So because they are shaped primarily by the group and its leaders rather than by wider society, you know, through cultural experiences, their mothers, like, you know, like their ancestors, like the wisdom that's passed down, etc. The result is identity often becomes fused to the group. So critical thinking is discouraged and independence is underdeveloped. So remember the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, they rewire the brain, that part that allows you to critically think, you know, foresee, you know, danger. Oh my God, I got my shorts like high-waisted, like what's going on there? Like I'm a first love dancing star chair. You know, they like wearing their high-waisted pop Johnny stockings with the bow ties chair. All right, you know. All right. So let's get into the neuroscience. Oh, Queen Nas, it's too much. Yeah. Let's get into the neuroscience of this. So how chronic childhood control changes the brain. So again, this is chronic control in these chronic high control groups. Then you've got the toxicity of the cultural element. I want to say with this particular survivor, her mom immigrated from Jamaica. And when she arrived in Miami, she didn't have any paperwork. So again, she's vulnerable. She's got a background of SA. Her mom wasn't raised by her mother. So this is like really easy prey. Do you know what I mean? She's the typical target audience. And this is why she found herself kind of like, you know, going to these like backdoor church cults, like in someone's house. And do you know what I mean? It just got wild. And then also that desperation and that need for belonging. Do you understand what I'm saying? That guidance. And it kind of makes sense why she would have been attracted to that female false prophetess with the church in the house, because she didn't have that mother in as well. So there's been survivors who haven't had that mother figure, and they've got really close to these really EVIL, like really wicked wogs, man. women that are claiming to come in the name of God and they've just exploited them. Is so sad. So let's look into the neuroscience and how childhood control changes the brain. So chronic stress and trauma over childhood. So threats, shame, physical or emotional coercion. And she was talking about, the woman was telling her that, she's a DEVIL and she's going to hell, and she turned her mum against her and just had complete control, and it breaks them down. So after the brain systems that process and the threat, the memory and the self-regulation, including the amygdala, which is the heightened response, and the hippocampus, which is the memory, it's where all the memories are stored. So there starts to be like memory problems. That's why a lot of survivors have like they struggle to remember what took place in that, because it's been so traumatic. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that is because of the hippocampus part of the brain. They're just, you know what it is, guys? It's just the severe indoctrination. It's the sleep deprivation. It's the hours of mind alteration. This stuff is what they're doing is they're deregulating your nervous system, and you're not going with the normal flow of even this world. You're going with the flow of the cult. You leave the space. You leave that cult when ish gets done. There's no time. If you have to be there for 12 hours, you're there for 12 hours. And everybody's so indoctrinated and brainwashed. They're like, yes, we will not go until we get it done. We are serving the Lord. We are working for the Lord. We are doing great and mighty exploits for the Lord. We are taking over territories, kingdoms and dominions for the Lord. They hyping them up, Jer. It's like a DRUG, because they don't want to face the sad reality of their lives. Do you get what I'm saying? You've got a lot of dusty guys in there, they'd rather believe on, like, be chasing invisible blessings and, having fake positions that's been created by, a backdoor mog. Instead of these guys handing out a flyer on the weekend, they need to go and pick up some extra hours, because they look broke when they're out doing it. So my whole thought is, why are you out here on the street? You're not engaging anyone. No one's giving their life. No one's stopping to talk to you because you look at MESS. It's like, why am I going to go and follow you when you're presented like this? They don't even realize it. It's like there's no common sense. All I'm thinking when I see them is, why, even if you were doing delivery, baby, on the weekend, them ones, because I know that your main job is not covering what needs to be done to provide for your family. So instead of you going and getting extra hours, even if you're doing delivery, you're not doing that. Instead, you're using that time and energy to stand on the strip of Woolwich outside of Tesco's supermarket, to stand there like a robot and dummy and give out flyers. That's what you're choosing to do with your time. Because remember, time and energy, that gets converted into money. That's what they're essentially paying you for, your time. It's your time, 9 to 5. They're paying you for your time. That's why you get paid per hour. They don't pay us nothing. It's free labor for profit. So they rinse you dry. They've got you in there working like a slave. I'm just so sick and tired of it. Do you know what I mean? Especially the pretty girls. You need to get out of their chair. Hey, Miss Elrose. No, I've only been on for 12 minutes. Hey, Queen. I've only just started, girl. Perfect timing. I'm just so sick of the lies, and that's why they need to leave people who leave their cults and the world. Get us out of your mouth, because we're doing just fine over her. You need to focus, because I'm going to be 40 in 2027. In January. I'm going to be 39, babe. So instead of you not having my name in your mouth, calling me auntie, I'm not giving auntie, babe, because I got the young YNs. just they're so lovely. They're just willing to do anything. Why didn't the gal them tell me that you can be a cougar? Are you all right? Oh my gosh, there's some young YNs out here who are really grateful to just be with me. All right, guys, let's get into it. So the prefrontal cortex part of the brain, which reduces the top-down control. So these changes make hypervigilance, strong emotional reactions, memory fragmentation. So that's like when you're forgetting things. And that's why, because it is so traumatic, you will just have a lot of memory loss, yeah? And difficulty with planning, decision making. Guys, I was crying in Specsavers because I didn't know what glasses to choose. It's like you'll call the pastor for the slightest thing. I was calling my lady pastor for everything. She was making all the decisions in my life. Especially the wogs, they take over your life, because them single married women, the first ladies, they're so unhappy. So they really do get into your business, it's kind of weird. Like when you're with these wogs, like the lady pastors, if you get close to them and you're almost like an assistant or an armor bearer, it almost feels like you're in a relationship with them. It gets so personal because the mog spends all the time in the church cult. It's like he's got an emotional affair with the church, with the cult. Yeah. So the wives are just left. They're just neglected. That's why the wives get away with so much in the church cult. They won't correct them. They won't do anything openly because it's like, they don't have a marriage, so the only time they give them like this power and give them like to make them feel like something, do you know what I mean, it's in that space. So a lot of the time these type of women, they're running things, you know, like Awo is a very good example from Caris, because she's just been left to run riot in there, and what do we get? The girls looking like a bunch of 304 aunties, do you know what I mean? That's the result. Okay. So adolescence is a vulnerable developmental window. The prefrontal cortex, remember, you know, the brain hasn't even finished fully developing up until 19. Yeah. So remember, these are children and kids that are born into it. Miss L Rose, is the connection all right? So the impulse control planning, it matures late, and the limbic part of the brain, which is the reward system part of the brain, are especially sensitive. So heavy control in childhood plus sudden access to freedom in late teens to early 20s often triggers powerful risk-taking and identity experiments. So with this particular survivor, she said she used to count down the days until she was 18 so she could leave and go to the clubs and drink and have a boyfriend and things like that, because it was so controlling. She could do absolutely nothing, to the point where she didn't fit into wider society. She didn't get to go to her prom. People thought she was weird. So she was like the odd bodge, because she didn't know how to speak or like mix with like people in the so-called world. And another thing that she said is, because they demonized and fixated so much on the world, she said that they made it sound like really exciting, and she couldn't get out. She couldn't wait to get out and experience it. And she said she used to be sitting in the pews and she used to say to herself, as soon as I'm 18, I'm getting the hell out of there. And so do you see that someone who's been in a church their whole life just goes from one extreme to another because the mum's so hyper religious? So she's gone from that to working in a STRIP club as a go-go dancer to literally survive, because now her mum's thrown her out of the house because of a malignant narcissistic cult leader. A woman this woman was she's mentally unwell. Do you understand what I'm saying? And she's completely taken over the mum's life. It's so sad, isn't it? Absolutely just sad. So you see them go to a lot of extremes. That's why the PKs, the Porsters kids, oh my gosh, they're the worst. Chair. Listen, you get Brenda turning into Brian, you know, Bob turning into Barbara. Chair. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's so much extremes. It's because they get their authenticity and then they're just like, wow, like I could just be myself. There's so many different like epiphanies that people come to, and they don't care, because they've seen all of it happen behind the scenes. Why is that happening? Why is that happening? If your dad's supposed to be this great mom, because they don't invest in their kids. They put so much time in building these empires and doing up whatever, and they're like, the Lord will look after my child. And then it's like, you've poured nothing. You have no relationship with your youth, bro. You're screaming, Jesus, 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 this and that, but you've got no relationship with your child. Now your child's homeless and working in a STRIP club. What? And you're handing out tracts. That's why when people were trying to come at me for this video I did with this woman, when she's out handing out tracts, well, why are you doing that on a Saturday? You've got nothing better to do with your time. It's these type of gal them that are out giving out these tracts from morning until night, doing up all of this crazy outreach, whilst their kids are just left to fend for themselves. Kids need a lot of attention. They need a lot poured into them to be confident, to, you know, like be able to stand a chance in this world. It's and where a lot of these like old school auntie and uncles have gone wrong is they've really forced them with the education. But it's not about that. It's about the emotional stability, the love. And that's why we've got so many kids like this who were made to be parents and raise their siblings because their mum was so like emotionally unavailable. She's having all of the daddy's already cheating on you, daddy don't want you, daddy's flying back and forth from Ghana, Nigeria's got all these wives, all these different kids around, but here you are still having these kids because you want to be validated by the man so much. So now you can't manage and cope with these children, so now you've got the kids raising themselves. And I see this happen in so many auntie and uncle settings, and it's really sad. All right, so now we're going to go through the key psychological patterns in second gen survivors. So identity foreclosure. So one thing that a lot of the second gen survivors have been telling me is, I don't know who I am without the church. So it's like this born again identity. It's like they don't know how to fit in the world because they haven't had access to it. And you've got to remember, up until like 18, the parent is your guardian. They've got full say. So there really is some blurred lines, like real grey areas around this, like how these kids are literally exposed to like child like labor for profit. They're exposed to like really demonic deliverances and just really harsh stuff. Hey bro, it's just what's been going on is crazy. And guys, I did promise to come back on, so I'm going to do a quick one. I need to rest. I hope I'm not coming down with something, Chad. I'm feeling a little bit muffly. Because the group provides roles, meaning, social identity, and moral language from birth, children rarely explore alternatives. And also there's that authoritarian control, like you do what you're told. Do you get it? So it will feel like you're in an army when you're in these settings. And if your mother or your father is like totally hyper religious, you just won't be able to speak to them, and there won't be any alternatives because they're so radical. It's like they want you to do everything inside the cult. They don't want you to mix with anyone, and they don't realize that the kids are not, they're not quote unquote normal, because everything in there is like really fake. The relationships are really manufactured. So even having like that experience of forming organic, natural relationships with people that you actually like, they don't get to do that. So that's why a lot of the time, like, the girls will get used. Like, it's always like, guys, the pastors' kids are the wildest. I'm not gonna lie, they got no self-respect or love for themselves, man. It's because the parents haven't loved them. I'm telling you. Remember about that girl that I was telling you about, and her mum was having an affair with that guy, and then he was a work colleague of hers and took on the child. She was calling him uncle and whatever, and the guy ended up raping her. And the mum like basically got into her head and was like, oh, don't go to the police, no one will want you. But it's because the mum was getting her back blown out by the guy. It's only years later when the girl completely lost her mind that she's going to tell the police. And then they said, were you in a romantic relationship with the man? And she had to admit it. And when I tell you, I've never seen someone like with so insecure, has absolutely no respect for themselves, no value, no self-worth, no nothing. Like I'm really starting to see there's a pattern that's reoccurring of like absent mothers, because they make them really masculine, and a lot of the time they marry dusty, so the women have to work so hard, they're under so much pressure, and they just can't pour into their kids. It's sad. Like, we had the survivor on YouTube yesterday saying that it's like her mum is alive, but it's like she's not with us, because it's like, you can't speak to her. You can't pick up the phone and speak to your mum and just be like, oh, mum, I'm just having this really hard day. It's going to be, oh, let me pray for you. The devil is a liar. It's no common sense. No, their feet are not on the ground. And so the kids, they just can't have normal relationships. It's so sad. Oh yeah, guys, like up the live, man. Guys, TikTok, I can't stay if you're not going to like the live, because it protects the space. They try and get me off the net. I feel that there's a calmness though. I think that some of them, even inside the cult, are starting to see what I'm saying. They're starting to see it, because word on the street is, I'm surprised. I've heard a couple of people that have left some of these church cult spaces, and I'm like, woo! But I knew it. It's only a matter of time, especially these young people. That's why you need to just humble yourself, because you don't even know if you're going to be there next year, my love. Do you know? I mean, you might get your back blown out by the drummer, and then you have to learn the hard way that they're not really checking for you, because now you're just a member that comes, but that drummer's been there since he's 10 years old, and without the drums, the praise and worship it ain't bussing. So they go and demonize you, baby. But it takes them, they just got to learn, innit, these little gal. You don't want to listen to mother, you don't want to listen to big sis. Do you know what I mean? And there's an old Caribbean saying, those who don't hear must feel. So if you don't hear, you must feel. Hey, blue skies in the car. That's just what it is. Minakir. And also, can I just say to survivors, the content that I've been doing, example, when I've been going out and challenging, women with their tracks and EVIL, if you're getting triggered because, you're internalizing it because you dress like that, or you're that woman, or you do whatever, Minakir, don't come and project that onto me. I don't care. If you're like, only this content's a bit much, I don't care. Because when I was in that cult for 18 years and I was in the wilderness fighting for my life, you weren't there. So I don't want to hear your opinion. You don't, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing. So keep it to your damn self. Do you know what I mean? Have those opinions for the porsters and the people and your husband that don't love you, that's not doing nothing for you, that's not paying your rent, that you're doing 50. Have that same vim and energy for your housemate, your roomie. Don't come and be messaging me up and having chat for me, babe. Do you know what I mean? I'm sick of it. Go and focus on your own life and what you got going on in your yard. Why are you so fixated on the content? Like, it's triggered you that much that you want to come and talk rubbish. I've already told you, like, if you're in the collective, babe, I've already got to deal with the trolls. So I don't want to hear it. If you feel some type of way, go and deal with it, man. You get me? Like, are you all right, babe? That's why I said to you, like, even the people that thing with my content, they can't help but engage with my content because I'm the only one talking about this. Don't you get it? But they've got like they're like, it's like in their head, they're just thinking it was that church, you know, like it's not that they're not willing to go so deep. They'll come on. And when I'm talking about something that tickles their ears, that they want to hear, they'll come on. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you know you're like that, please don't chat to me. I would never say to you, don't get the contact. But if you're going to be, because you're just like the church cult pastors, don't you get it? You're cherry picking what you want to pick. When I start talking about husbands and that, you don't want to hear it because you're doing up 50-50 and your husband treats you like a mug. So now when I'm talking, you're getting triggered. So now when I start going into the wife thing, why is she there dressed like this, babe? No one is going to, it's the truth. No one is going to want to listen to you when you're presented like that. It's common sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, are you all right? I don't want to hear your opinions. Just stay in your self-sealing sisters, man, because you're just as bad as them. You're all coming on and clapping for me and agreeing for me. And then the next minute, you're like the Pharisees. Do you understand? I ain't got time for that, man. Seriously, just deconstruct in silence. You don't need to. No one wants to hear that over her. I'm dealing with so many haters, and then you want to come and add your touch. Does it make any sense? That's how I know that they're still indoctrinated. I don't care. It's not my life. You can do what you're doing because, babe, I wouldn't swap my life for your life. Yeah, get me? I wouldn't swap my life for your life over her anywhere, any day. So I'm good. That's all you need to know. That's why when you lot are commenting and all that, it's just like, babe, get a grip. Get it together. Oh my God. All right. So because the group provide roles, meaning, social identity, and moral language from birth, children they don't have any other alternatives. There's nothing to compare it to. They don't know why going outside. So when they leave or question church cult, there's often no internal map for who they are outside of the cult because they've got absolutely no identity. They've been taken there from birth, and then their parents has been controlling their life. This can cause panic, emptiness, or sudden swing behavior, so rebellion. Another thing I want to say is that with this survivor, she's been diagnosed with BPD, same thing as me, EUPD. And what I'm finding is a lot of survivors that have been in these church cults for like long periods of time, they usually have some sort of personality disorder. And so that's why therapy doesn't always work the same, or doesn't always work. But I just wanted to throw that in there, guys. Attachment disruption and parent substitution. So some cults replace parental authority with leader authority, and that is what happens with the second gen, because their parents worship the cult leader like daddy. So that's everyone's daddy. It comes from the top down. So they indoctrinate the parents to indoctrinate the second gen members. That's why they get them all to marry in there. And then majority of the time, the guys are dusties. The women usually have a lot more going on because the dynamic is that they indoctrinate the women to be pick-me's and serve the men like kings. And, you know, because it's like the men should be doing all the ministry. And then when the women want to do the ministry, they have to go even harder because they still want you to be like this A1, this perfect wife who cooks and cleans and serves the man and takes his dish and treats him like a king. And, you know, there's gal in there, they're making double the amount that their husband's making. He goes and picks up the kids in the school. He'll be driving her car that she paid the car note on, and he's all there driving like he's some boss. It's pathetic. The family behind you are so beautiful. I know they are. It's sad though, isn't it? Because this was some statistics that they took, basically saying that like eldest daughters from BLK families, basically like they're just raising the kids. And my son was forced into care and the church used him. He passed recently, age 14. I'm so sorry, my love. All right, guys, we're just going to take a moment to just hold the space for MB. I'm so sorry. Are you a king or a queen? I'm so sorry, my love. That's absolutely tragic. And as you know, I lost my boyfriend. They unalived him in police custody, and it was the most traumatic experience of my life. You're the mum. I'm so sorry, Queen. And I don't have even the words to say. Just that time, I can't even say anything to you because I've experienced the grit, and I don't know I don't even know how I would begin to start to unpack what it would feel like losing a son. And then with this extra layer of the church cult environment, I can only just say that my heart goes out to you. And what I think, how I'm gonna look at this is that there is a safe space for you to be able to come in and feel like you can disclose this, and you feel like it's a safe space to disclose such a sensitive part of your life. And we are here as a collective. We're a healing community, and we're just sending you love. And I don't say this to people all the time because if I know I'm not going to do it, I don't say it. But I will pray for you if you want me to. Would you like me to pray for you? Because a lot of the time they say I will pray for you. So if you would like me to pray for you, I would. I don't always, because they act like prayers, just cheap. I know the significance of prayer and the commitment that it takes to really lift someone up in prayer and do that. And I would like to do that for you, but there's no pressure. It might be triggering. Babe, I will answer your question about the thing, royalty, but just give me a second because it's just a bit of a sensitive space right now, my love. But I will answer it for you in a sec. MB, my heart absolutely goes out to you. I hope that the content is helping. And MB, if there's any particular content that you feel that you need, that I'm not putting out there, just put me a message and ask me. Just say, Leah, can you do something on A, B, C, and D? And I can get that out for you that same day. Yeah, my love. I will do some stuff around grief, bereavement, and loss actually for you, MB. Yeah, I'll do a bit of content on that because that's what I specialized in for my social work masters. Yeah, guys, there's some real stuff going on, man. Royalty, are you still here? Royalty, let me know if you're still here. It's okay, my love. It's all right, Queen. We're here for you as a collective, okay? All right. Because I got to put her on, man. Okay, so this babe, this is a Ghanaian OG. Can you see this? Recommended this to me. Girl, it's green, yeah, but when you put it on, it goes pink. It's so good. And it moisturizes the lips. It's called Aloe Vera Lipstick Kiss Beauty. Can you see it? It's like she got it from Amazon, and then I just used this little cheap one from the hair shop chair. It's like £1, $1.99 chair. I'll just mix these two chair. They're all trying to be bougie online. Ramelsh, and get out of there, babe. Do you know what I mean? That costs you £4. You're good, girl. Do you know what I mean? You could probably get a few of these chair. I would get a free pack because, girl, you won't regret it. I was actually going to start, doing commission on TikTok because it's so good. This is something that I'd actually recommend people. But I've been inundated with survivors, and there's too much going on. Do you understand? So I can't. Hey, girl. Hey, my love. I'm literally doing the live right now, and I've done the one on YouTube. I'm gonna message you. Yeah, from Amazon, my love. And you can get this from the Black Hair Shop, but if not, you can get it on Amazon as well. All right, y'all. Okay. So let's look into now shame, purity. Oh, no, I haven't finished this bit. All right. So when kids are like second gen members and they've got these parents who are like completely just not vacant. That's what I think I want to say. It's like lights are on, but no one's home. Children may have been parentified, punished for independence, or taught to distrust outsiders. So again, if you didn't have siblings, then you would become the parent. You've raised yourself because your parent is not there emotionally, physically, not. They're just living in the church culture. And Instagram, you can't see it, or YouTube, but I've got a picture with like an older sibling and there's about 3 kids because I've seen it time and time again, man. They get the eldest, the child will be like 8 and they're looking after the rest of the 3 siblings. It's so sad. Like giving them dinner. They're not supposed to be parents. If you've experienced that in childhood, that's ABUSE. That's not parenting. That's not mothering. Like I still like cut up my kids' food, and if my 11-year-old wanted me to do that, I'd still be doing that for her at 11 years old. You have to mother and nurture your kids. It's so sad. So this produces insecure attachment. So a lot of second gen survivors, I'm going to say, look into insecure and disorganized attachment, guys, so that you can understand what type of attachment you've had as a result of being in these settings. Yeah. Low trust and difficulties forming healthy adult relationships. So you might find that it's difficult for you to form relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, just certain work environments, because guys, they mess us up in there. And if you're a second gen, you've had no identity outside of the call. So it's like you've got to start from scratch, from the jump. At least with me, like I came in at 19, but I've still got my experience of like, you know, what I was doing before, like up to like 18. I've got, there's some sort of memory of what I like, but they have got nothing to go back to. It's like it's a blank slate. Do you understand that? Do you know how scary that is for a second gen? And they have to leave young. Like I told you, that survivor's getting thrown out of her house at 18 years old, having to stand on her own 2 feet. Are you all right? And in the US, they don't have the services that we have and the systems that they have here. Like if you're outside, you're on your own chair. Survival of the fittest chair. You got to do anything you can to survive. That is what it is. That's on period, point blank. Oh, your comments ain't going through, chair. Why? Let's get into shame, purity, and eggshell repression. So high control groups often weaponize shame and purity. So eggshell sin is like a spiritual sickness. They don't deal with the root of the problem. They don't deal with the trauma. So you've got people in there, you know, eating out of the great bowl, having affairs. Do you get what I'm saying? Because the trauma, because listen, look at someone like Steps, 10 allegations of women coming forward saying about coercive control through the great bowl and SA. Yeah? Someone like that has just gone into a hyper-religious setting in Paris, and they're all lifting him up because he's got 4 million followers or whatever. His trauma hasn't been dealt with. And then someone like that is going to be in leadership positions. So now when they marry their wife, and then like a year later or 2 years later, what, it's not working out. And then what do? Start going back to their old coping mechanisms. And do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they don't change. They just put a bandage on the trauma. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we've got bare preds and PDFs in these environments. Are you okay? So that's why when they want to have my kids' name in their mouth, I'm like, baby, focus on your own youths, innit? Because you're in a setting where no one has DBS check. We don't know if these people are serial, you know what's, like PDFs check. Are you all right? So sexuality becomes a battleground. Another thing, I've spoken to like second gen survivors who like have been like, you know, they've eaten from the great bowl and things like that, and they said they were so naive that like at age 16 they felt like they were about 8 years old, like mentally. So it's like they didn't know about private parts, they didn't know how to make babies. At 16 years old, they were in the self-sealing system, like wrapped and mollycoddled so much that when these things were happening to them, they couldn't even articulate or explain it because they hadn't been taught. And these are the things I'm talking about. Like, I've sat down and spoken to my daughter. She's 11, how babies are made, body part, all of that. And it's like they don't know how to have these conversations because they're in a cognitive dissonant state. It's like, oh, no. My daughter is pure and holy. It's like, again, lights are on no one's home. Another thing that they do up in there is delusion. Remember, with the religious psychosis, they've got a distorted reality. So remember, they're not living in the same reality as you and I. Crazy. Okay. So because it's labeled as sinful inside the cult, it's then seen as dangerous or irresistible. It's like the forbidden fruit. Because remember I was telling you that survivors said they were gassing it up so much, like talking about the world so much. It's like that's all the young people are thinking about. Like, you're making it sound lit. Like, people want to go out to the club now and do this and do that because they're so obsessed and fixated with the world. It's like, babe, like, no one cares what you're doing in there. Like, I'm only because I'm lit, babe. I'm beautiful. I don't need to talk about. Everyone's shocked I'm even talking about this. The only reason I'm talking about this, babe, is because you lot took 18 years of my life. Because no one, you lot are just in there teething up people's money and indoctrinating people. No one cares. No one's been on you lot's necks like this because you just move in plain sight. And you be teething and essay. I'm talking about it now, and I've got a problem with it because you lot took 18 years of my life. So till the day I'm alive, I don't care about money, baby. I'm from the streets. I come from nothing, yeah. Listen, I came here naked, I'ma leave naked, yeah. Me not care. Me not care. I don't care, babes. I'm gonna be doing this until I'm alive. I don't need to make money. Me not care. Do you think I care, babes? I don't give a damn. I'm talking about it all day. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you lot have taken the absolute mick. I've got second gen survivors that were in there for the whole 18 years. I'm sitting back after speaking to this survivor and I'm like, raw, that's a whole lifetime. That whole time. The reason why I'm resonating with second gen survivors is because usually they duck out around 18. And I spent 18 years in there. So that's a whole lifetime. Yeah. So it's resonating. What I'm saying is it's able to resonate with some survivors who have been through it. I'm shocked. I'm like, raw. Yep, they are obsessed with sin and not the word of God. Yeah. Babe, how many times were we in these settings? Did we actually learn? Were we even learning about Jesus? What were we learning about? What were we actually learning? We were learning about everything and anything else. It was all like recitation. Very ritualistic. Miss L Rose, is it going through now? Your comments, try it, babe. Very ritualistic. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like regurgitate, like we have to learn it. Recitation, like we're in school. No one really knows God in their chair. And then you don't expect me to be afraid and scared when you're coming here and telling me, you're going to go to HR. Your pastors are. How about that? How about that, babe? Do you know what I mean? I don't care. Do they? Guys, have like you lot. Like I come online, I'm with nothing. Like I don't care. I need you lot to get the message. Like I don't care. All right. So guys, all of this like toxic mix, it can lead to second gen survivors being both avoidant and sensation seeking. So it's the attention as well, because remember, you haven't had that validation, that nurturing, that you've been like emotionally neglected. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like wanting that attention. So that's why you can end up getting into like toxic relationships, ending up being with a narcissist or someone who's abusive. Or do you understand what I'm saying? Because you haven't had that time to process or even experience. You feel like you haven't experienced love from your mother or your parent, because this is the same thing that second gen survivors keep saying. But what I want to do is kind of like just separate like your mother, or let's say the mother, from the indoctrination and who they truly are. Because when you're in there, guys, because remember, the reason why I think this has been so triggering for me upon reflection is because I've got two daughters. My eldest one was in there till about 8 years old, and I would have been that type of mother for my kids. All right. It's very triggering. I'm not going to lie. Even now I'm forgetting what I'm saying, and I've had to like really unpack this. And I just want to say that my heart, I was speaking to my mum and I was like, Mum is so sad. And I was just like, and I'm so lucky to have my mum that I can go and speak to. And, you know, I was just saying to her, Mum, it's absolutely heartbreaking, you know? And I just want to say that my heart goes out to you guys, seriously, all right? Okay. So, and something that will help you guys, yeah, with this avoidance and sensation seeking, and the like looking at the attachment and how the setting, how they controlled your parent through authoritarian leadership to control and take over your life, to make sense of it and unpack it. Because what you need to do is you need to not internalize it, because it's not that your mum doesn't love you. It feels like that, but it's because a malignant narcissist or a Machiavellian has colonized your mum's mind and has complete total control. Do you see, when you start to look at it like that, what that does is take like the guilt and that self, or all of that stuff that you're carrying, you can like take that, do you know what I mean? So that you can feel lighter. Because it's not you guys' burden to carry. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be young people and kids. And I know it might sound a bit harsh, guys, but you've got to focus on yourself. I'm going to keep it a buck. I've got to keep it a buck with y'all. You know, like your mental health comes first, yeah. All right, so trauma bonding and learned helplessness. So there's cycles of punishment and intermittent reward. So love, spiritual experiences, praise from leaders. So they'll do a mixture of this. So you would have seen them breaking your mum up and down. You would have seen her like with very like she's got emotional, unstable personality disorder. Like 1 minute you're seeing her cry like the night before, then you're seeing her on a high like a manic. You know, it's like a roller coaster, very unstable. Up and down. So it would have been very chaotic for second gen survivors. So you can see that when they come out, they end up with a narcissist, because a narcissist thrives off chaos. So do you see how someone like that is just like meat? like fresh meat for a narcissist because you're still figuring it out. That's why I'm going to say unequivocally, it's up to you in it, because I'm not trying to be your porster and telling you what to do and whatever. But for all second geners, I don't care if you've been married for 20 years, whatever. Don't go and be getting your back blown out and be going clubbing in it. You know what you lot need to be doing up is nature and therapy, and really go into your GP, and because you've got to deal with that. You've got to get some sort of diagnosis. You've got to understand yourself. Is it BPD? You have CPTSD, BPT. What is it? It could be bipolar. You need to go and unpack that, because then you'll just be disassociated for the rest of your life. And I want to say with this survivor, that her mum was church cult hopping for a total of 18 years. So her whole like childhood into like, going into adulthood. It's crazy. So what they do is they create attachment to abusers and a belief that you cannot escape. So similar to trauma bonds in abusive relationships. And that's the thing, because in these settings, you form trauma bond relationships with people. That's why I'm saying it's not a good idea to go and start doing up boyfriend and start going and doing up friendships and relationships, because the only way you know how to form relationships is via trauma bonds. So you're going to be desperate, telling your whole business to people. You don't know if they're snakes. You don't know who these, so you need time to figure it out. You've got to protect your energy. Again, this is just advice. You can do what you want, but I'm just telling you but everybody has to go down their own journey. Because to be fair, for me personally, like I had to go down my journey, and I had to, because it made me the woman I am. Some people have to get sectioned. Some people have to lose their mind. But if it does resonate and you can try and have a crack at it, do you know what I mean? Like, because second geners, you're the most vulnerable group out of everyone. And then there's intersectionality within this, because you've got the second geners. But then most of the second geners are there's going to be neurodivergence. There's going to be some sort of personality. They usually are all neurodivergent. So that's another layer. You lot, man, it's just, but you know what? There's been so many second geners that are living their lives. They're moving on. That's why I really respect it when second geners come and they say, oh, Leah, do you know what? I can't speak up, but I'm going to give you this information as an anonymous, because it's not even about me necessarily sharing your story, but what it allows me to do is connect the dots, because then I can see the same patterns happening, and then I can frame and shape the content around, the themes, the reoccurring themes and patterns that I'm seeing come up here. So it's so important. That's why silence is compliance, guys. You need to remember, at the core of who I am, I'm a social scientist and an informal educator. So you might think that, this information, it might not really be but it's even the stuff that I know behind the scenes that I can't say. And it doesn't matter. I don't need to say it, because I know how I'm framing things and sending indirects. These cults know that I know stuff, because I'm sending them in like indirect messages. They know what I know, child. I mean, I care. Because it's all deception and lies in there. Guys, I need to try and go see, so I can do some of this content. I really do want to get some content out here. I really want to do the survivors proud this week with the content. And then next week, I'm going to be focusing on my book. So guys, I'm going to be coming in with some mad reflections, like, I've been writing my book and this and that. Miss El Rose, are you here, my love? Is it frozen? Is YouTube okay? I feel like it's going to be frozen. All right. So they get into trauma bonds in abusive relationships, and the learned helplessness phenomenon, because they are literally helpless. You come out feeling like a 5-year-old. That bond makes leaving risky and psychologically painful. Let's look into religious trauma, so RTS, and the patterns. So many clinicians and survivors, so this is taken from a plethora of different research and journal peer-reviewed articles, all right? So many clinicians and survivor groups describe a mixture of symptoms after leaving authoritarian religion, and this includes panic, loss of meaning, hypervigilance, intrusive religious content, identity confusion, and difficulty trusting. I also want to put in like PTSD, personality disorders in this as well. The literature and clinical summaries are converging on similar patterns. So again, we're seeing the literature and we're seeing the research So we're seeing when they're carrying out research and we're getting like the clinical studies and the science, it's all marrying together. And we're seeing these patterns where when these second gen survivors are leaving these groups, that there's panic, there's loss, there's hypervigilance, and the intrusive religious content, especially if you're still, because what happens with survivors is they can leave or not even properly leave. A lot of them, when they're still living in the yard, they've got to go on the odd Sunday. There's been second gen survivors that have had to stop speaking to me because their parents are so deep in. It's so sad, man. But second gen has encouraged me, man. Come and make yourself known to me this week. Let me know if the content's helping, because you lot are a different layer. You're a different kettle of fish. Just message me on the burner account and be like, Leah, I'm a second gen. Like, yeah, like just keep doing the content. If I get more messages from second geners, I'll keep doing the content. Yeah, I'm bribing you. I'm using emotional manipulation. I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm using it. I'm blackmailing you. I'm bribing you. All right. So there was something out of everything that the survivor said to me today. If you said to me, Leah, out of everything she said, what stuck out to you the most? I'm going to say it was when the fake prophetess, ex-LGBTQ plus lady turned false prophetess, said to her mum when she got her first job that she's heard from the Lord and she shouldn't be working. She should be focusing on the ministry. So her mum took her security number away from her and she had to leave the current job that she was in. And then things escalated from there. The fake prophetess actually took over the home and started doing the church in their home, because she was in downtown Miami and the house got robbed because they were in the hood. So anyway, there was one church service one night and she said to her mum that she didn't want to go to the church. It all kicked off because remember, the mums that, like, the parents, they're sleep deprived, they're on the edge, they're not eating properly, they're in fight or flight, they're in survival mode, they're giving all their money to the church, they're under a lot of pressure, they're doing so much, they just snap. Like the slightest thing, they can't deal with, you know what I mean, like normal situations. So at that point, when she said she's just not going to the church service, it's like the mum kicks off, throws her out of the house, starts throwing all of her clothes out of the house. The only person that helped her was her trans neighbor. Everybody else was standing around and watching her mum. Her mum physically put hands on her as well. Could you imagine what that's like, being 18 years old? Instead of your mum loving you, she's putting hands on you and fighting you. So, and again, we do still need to look at the mum as a victim. I'm not demonizing mum because she's, also vulnerable and a victim and been, had a very, like, a core morbid traumatic past. And these pastors, they just prey on especially vulnerable women, the single, especially single mothers. It's so sad. So when she got thrown out, now her trans neighbor offered her to come and stay at the house a couple of days, and because she didn't have her security number, her mum wasn't talking to her, dashed her at the house. He said, listen, if you need some quick money, you can do up Go-Go Dancing, which is a STRIP club. And he bought her her first pair of shoes and her dress. And the first time that she went for the interview, love you, girl. First time she went to the interview, the guy said, oh, so take off what you got, show me what you got. And she took it off for the interview and he said, all right, you're hired. And she said that, in that space, this was the first time that she had control over her mind, over her body. It was the first time in her life that she'd felt free. And this was an innocent child that was, her life should have been like straight laced, like perfect, according to their false doctrine. Should have got married in there and had this perfect life. Why didn't she? Because there was so much control and there's so many mentally ill people in there they care about is control, Chair. So I want to go into the psychology of that and why she felt like that. So why the STRIP club, I'm going to call it S club, felt more freeing than church. Let's look at the psychology and the neuroscience behind this. Agency and bodily ownership. In the cult, the survivor's body was controlled. There was shame, rules, elders, policing, also jealousy. because one thing I got with her, and she's absolutely stunning. So there's a lot of jealousy as well with these female pastors. So selling, performance, extra labor can paradoxically be the first context, or the first place that second gen survivors would choose, because there's been no boundaries, the body has been controlled, and in these situations the survivor would be in control of their body, payment, feelings of efficacy, and that subjective sense of control, which activates positive self-agency. So it's self-efficacy, autonomy, and just being able to make your own choice, guys. And it really doesn't matter whether, you know, people will see that as a positive or a negative or whatever, but the depth of it is, and that's why I've been saying to you that these church cults are worse than clubs. I've said it because at least you've got the camera, people have to put their ideas, they're coming in. And similarly, in that STRIP club, she said nothing happened to her. She didn't take DRUGSs. She wasn't sleeping with guys. The security guys really looked after her. There was cameras. She felt safer than being in the church. And that's what I'm saying to you. Like, it is like the club is safer because they got cameras and security. In the church cult, it's just a free playing field. That's why women are getting raped in their home, and then they'll be coming and saying, "Oh, the pastor is a man of God in a moment of weakness. The demons are coming, and we are now praying for him. We will deal with this internally. Let the Lord deal with him, sister. Let the Lord." That's what they do up. So do you see why they've been getting away with this for years? And then you bring in like the traditional cultural elements of things, guys. It's just a really toxic mixture there. Immediate social validation and reward. So again, being looked at, being desired, being paid produces immediate dopamine reward. So remember, it's like a DRUG, and subconsciously survivors are looking for that dopamine hit as well. Yeah, and the survivors talk about the shut-ins. We've all been to camps like this where we've been away for 3 days, no food, no water, no nothing, and it's just been heightened exasperation. We felt like we can take on the world, and then a day later it wears off. So what I'm saying is, it's that similar effect as what the church cults provide. That same the STRIP club would have produced that same dopamine hit and rush. Is that making sense, guys? So when we look at the system of the church cult that demonizes, you know, women's body, body shames them, very misogynistic, patriarchal, that system invalidated this survivor's body, sensuality, being a woman, etc. Now, this new environment, which is the STRIP club, is validating that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's crazy to even use these two examples, because how do you compare a STRIP club with a church? But this is where we're at. This is where we're at, unfortunately, because this is the MESS. This is the state that it's in. That this is what we need to be doing up. Absolutely crazy. I'm trying to process this as I'm talking. All right. So that subjective sense of control activates self-agency and self-efficacy. I've said this one, isn't it? All right. So the limbic reward system responds strongly to new positive reinforcement after long restraint. So there's that years and years and years of like control, like high control over a life. She can't make no decisions, can't do nothing. And then all of a sudden she's got this freedom. Men are desiring her. She's making money. So do you see the dopamine rush? But do you see how this is dangerous? Because these environments were doing the same thing, but it's covered with hyper religiosity. And this is almost looking like healthy environment and healthy leadership when you put it on that same spectrum of a church cult. This is how, and the reason why I think God has moved this individual to come forward is because I think everybody needs to know how bad it is. Like this is the level. Like this queen has come and bared her heart and soul, told us about very personal things, like things that have happened in her life to help others. Like, I really hope that people start waking up, man, because it is so deep. Yeah. Rebellion, reactance. When freedoms are repressed, psychological reactance drives people to reclaim them, sometimes explosively. So it's the two ends of the extremes, isn't it? Because they've been wrapped in cotton wool, and then it's like when they get that freedom, it's just reactive. It's all suppressed, and they just want to do everything. For someone controlled from childhood, late teens and early 20s, it's a likely time to push back hard. So they have absolutely no identity, absolutely no understanding of how the world works, guys. It's like they're dummies. Can you imagine? It's like just being unleashed into the world now. Because remember, if you're not for them, you're against them. So because this survivor stopped going to the church service, she was doing her own thing. Now the mum is like activated, enemy, attack. And that's why her mum attacked her like that, because they've got them. It's hyper religious, man. It's spiritually psychotic. That's why the mum started dashing out the clothes, putting hands on her, because that's what they'll result you to. That's what they'll result you to, like putting hands on your grown child and doing up that's where they'll bring you to, chair. That's where they'll bring you to, like to the pits of hell. All right. Identity experimentation. So the club also offered a subculture and a role, because remember, there's no identity. So now there's this subculture and there's this identity in this go-go dancing that she's doing. And again, she may have also built her confidence and felt in control of her sexuality. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. And she said that it was actually a positive experience. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, she learned to grow into her own person, to be confident. She said she didn't know how to dance, twerk, nothing. She had to learn it all very quickly. So it's like getting thrown in the deep end, but she had to do what she had to do to survive, because she had no income. Mum's throwing her out. She ain't got a security number. So, you know, it was the cult that led her to doing that. And you think God's going to be sitting back and watching these kind of things happen? All right, babe. Like up the live on TikTok, please. Okay. So again, she's getting to express her sensuality and her freedom and her body and her femininity in ways that she's never done before. That was previously seen as forbidden. All right. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit of studies. So there's qualitative studies and research that show many dancers describe empowerment and regain self-worth through experiences. And these are mixed and the context dependent. So again, guys, I have another survivor like this, and it hasn't been, you know, it's just like I had to do what I had to do to survive in it. But some girls that get into this scene, they can end up, you know, becoming addicted. Like, different things can happen. So again, you know, is an individualized experience. How the high control environment feels like despair, self-harm, and unalivement risk. And then I'm going to leave it here, guys, and I might come back a bit later, but if not, I'll come back tomorrow, because this is quite heavy stuff and I do want to get through it, and also include UCKG as a part of this as well. So chronic shame and isolation and unpredictable acceptance raise risk for depression, substance abuse, self-harm, and unalivement thoughts. Adverse childhood experiences. This is another good one for second generation cult members to look into. It goes by the acronym A for Apple, C for Charlie, E for Echo, S for Sierra. ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And it helps you unpack the adverse experiences that you've had as a child and how that can impact on you later on in life. Yeah. Hey, Parry. So adverse childhood experiences correlate strongly with later mental health problems and unalivement risk. When people try to raise abuse inside the group and are dismissed, it increases hopelessness. That's why people feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to delete myself. Hey, my love. Because it's like exasperated. It increases the hopelessness. They've got nowhere to turn. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go back. Do you not want me to give you some, let me know, guys, across the social media platforms. Do you not want some, like, okay, let me just, all right, so it's got a few things here, yeah, on how to, like, heal, and I'll go through this more when I come back, but it's got here, build safety and boundaries. So boundaries of the group, it may be locking them off, do you know what I mean? And then we've got trauma-focused therapy when ready. And then we've got somatic and embodiment practices, so somatic healing. And then not rushing back into a religious setting. Take your time, especially as a second gener, okay? Some recommended reading and resources. So there's the ICSA, and that's the International Cultic Studies. I don't know what the A stands for, but International Cultic Studies. And then we've got the NICE PTSD guidance for treatment and staging. I might check that out. And then there's another review on biological effects of childhood trauma. And then a book that I'd recommend is Freedom of the Mind and the Bite Model. And that's by Stephen Hassan. And that's all around the coercive control framework. All right, guys. So I'm going to go, and I need to ground myself and just, there's been a lot that I need to process, but I said I was coming back. So I wanted to come back and just do a quick live. And then I may be back later. If I'm not back later, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, guys? All right then, guys. Love y'all. TikTok, I'll see you later. Thanks for coming on. Instagram, I'm going to see you later. I've got a video up on YouTube where I did a part 1 to the second gen survivors. So if you go to Leah Lauder, I think I've titled it as a must watch. So it's all on there. Okay, guys? All right. Love y'all. I might be back later. Bye. All right, YouTube. Thank you so much for joining. I'm absolutely knackered. Yeah, I've got the part 1 to this. Miss Rose, I think you were here though. But if you do want to go and watch the part 1 around the second gen deconstruction stuff, then please feel free to. All right then, guys. Bye. Bye, YouTube.